In this episode,
Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire. He drinks the vodka, he drinks the Jaeger. His head's fucking massive. Harry Maguire.
I hope you come up with a better chant for your Harry than that one.
Well, he won't have a massive head, will he?
No, probably not.
Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire. He drinks the vodka, he drinks the Jaeger. His head's fucking massive.
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello listeners, welcome to episode 11 of the Planet FPL 30 in 30. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
Episode 11.
Why are we on a sofa?
Office remodelling, studio remodelling.
Is this regular?
This is a one-off.
Oh.
Spectacular. So the place is a bit of a mess.
I was just selling the whole YouTube gig there.
Yeah. People need to subscribe on YouTube to us because our subscriber numbers are relatively low because we don't put a lot out there. But I think we should start doing some YouTube exclusives.
I'm on YouTube exclusives
and
next
so
season.
if you are listening to the podcast, youtube.com/Planet FPL, and you'll find us. And you'll get to see what a mess the studio.
Or you
and
could
office
just
is
go
right
to
now.
YouTube and search Planet FPL.
Exactly.
Might be easier.
We're only one day out from recording and go live. So normally we've been pre-recording a lot of these episodes a few days in advance. But today is Monday. This is going out on Tuesday.
Yeah, we
Not a big gap.
booked this in advance into the schedule, assuming that England would be crowned Nations League champions, and we were going to talk about England.
You know what they say about assumptions?
Yeah, bad move.
Mother of all fuck-ups. So, I don't know where... This was booked in as a chat about Nations League. I'm pretty meh about it.
Well, I think
honest.
everybody, it generally is meh.
I think I was more... I gave the Nations League as a competition more credit when it was kind of the groups than I did now. It's just semis and a final. It didn't really feel... Like, you can't have a tournament with 3 games, right? 4 games.
4 games. Four games including the
third,
pony
fourth
fourth place playoff.
Exactly. So it just, it just felt a bit weird. And then I suppose you look at the squads and the teams that Southgate put out, pretty much changing 7 players from one map to the next, and you're like back into that kind of friendly territory, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, they were just high-profile friendlies, weren't they?
They
with
were,
with
in
a
the
potential
end.
cup on the end of it. But then Portugal looked like they enjoyed winning it last night. It's something on the board, isn't it?
It's something.
It's not like we're full of trophies that we can wave around and go, look what we've done.
No. I was looking at the lineups across the 2 games. It felt like the lineup for Switzerland was stronger than the lineup for the Netherlands.
Well, it will do because you had all the Champions League players back in from Spurs and Liverpool.
But Alexander-Arnold and Gomez played against...
They only played yesterday.
Yesterday, and they didn't play so Harry Kane played, obviously. Declan Rice got dropped. Dele Alli back in. Yeah.
Alexander-Arnold in the Switzerland game was the most chances created by an England player in a game since David Beckham.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting stat.
Yeah. It just put about another 0.5 on his value yesterday. Didn't it? All these people who think he's coming in at like 6, 6.5. I'm serious. I can't see it.
I haven't met anyone that thinks he's going to be cheaper than 7, but then I haven't logged into Twitter, so I'm sure they're there in the Twitterverse.
I still think he's going to be 7.5.
7.5.
I really do.
You were the £8 million man.
I think I'll be buying him at that price.
I'll be buying him regardless.
I think if Robertson,
he's a no-brainer.
If Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are 8 and 7.5, I think I still might buy both.
Sorry, we're talking about Trent here at 6.
Yeah.
Trent will be 7.
I think it'll be 7.5.
Trent will be 7. Robertson, did you see his goal the other day?
I did see his goal for Scotland, Screamer, yeah.
Yeah, he's justifying his £8 million price tag with that in FPL next season. Gomez, nice to see him get a bit of a
I see
time on the
fix
pitch,
released on Robertson, though, that they're predicted is 7.
which is cheap.
Yeah.
But Alonso was 7 last year, and we thought, wow, 7. So to go from 7 to 8 is still a big jump.
I just think these two in particular, like they're out of your common defensive value ideas in terms of what you're expecting. Alexander, 8 chances created yesterday for England.
Yeah.
This is no joke, mate.
No,
he is. You said when we were talking about the Champions League final, you almost classifying him like a winger.
Yeah.
So he's going to be classified as a defender.
Imagine if he got reclassified to a midfielder.
No, that's just disgraceful. That would be completely wrong.
It wouldn't happen.
You still consider him, by the way.
Yeah. Yesterday's game against Switzerland basically was just bad luck. I mean, England should have wrapped that up, could have wrapped that up, had enough chances and hit the post. And
4 times it would work, I think.
So the fact that it went to extra time and penalties, I mean, just not that bothered.
We won another penalty shootout.
We did win a shootout. But all in all, England were and you'd expect them to be the better side against Switzerland, created chances on another day. That was a 2 or 3-0 comfortable win. Maybe even a 3 or 4-0. So
in the Holland game, although at the end final result, obviously fractions, you're talking about the Lingard offside goal, mate.
Yeah. VAR back to haunt us, both with that and Callum Wilson.
And one of the things that's not hardly been mentioned about Lingard's disallowed goal, he started with John Stones playing it out from the back from like his own goal line.
Yeah.
And we played through them.
Yeah.
There's been so much talk about playing out from the back on the base of the Holland game. John Stones just made an unbelievably bad individual mistake where he should pass the ball back to Pickford, decides to pirouette, and then wants to give it back to Pickford anyway.
Yeah.
He just made a terrible individual mistake.
And it happens. They were ruthless.
There's been so much talk about, you're not good enough to play out from the back. Listen, when Van Dijk needs to not hoof the thing, but needs to knock in a 40, 50 yard pass into his front man, he will do it. Don't worry about that. And all the top level players, and that's the difference. The bigger problem is how our midfielders accept the ball with their back to play when you're under pressure, as seen with like Barkley on the third goal. Although I thought it was a bit unfortunate, Barkley, because I think he'd picked up an injury a few minutes earlier and was really struggling for movement. But it's more about, we don't have players. Take an example. So Declan Rice, I thought, did all right.
Yeah.
As a good holding
Really
midfield player in terms of his protection, but you don't want to give him the ball 30 yards from goal with his back to the play. It's not comfortable yet. Whereas
30 yards from our goal.
your own goal, with his back to the way he wants to go. Whereas someone like Harry Winks is really comfortable receiving it in that area and then moving off. Our midfield players don't rotate around the pitch to cause each other problems. So when, particularly in the Holland game, it didn't matter so much against Switzerland because they were an inferior side, but Holland really came and pressed us. Yep. So when Stones and Maguire were trying to play out, you need your midfielders to be in positions to accept and receive the ball. Barkley, for the large parts of the game, was quite comfortable in terms of his ball retention.
Yeah.
Delph and Rice less so, and it's not a criticism of either player. They're just not used to doing that. You can say, Delph plays for Man City. He doesn't play in that position for Man City too much, where he's receiving the ball under pressure.
Yeah, the thing is, Kevin De Bruyne spoke after the game. He said that Stones should have got more help. He was like, that goal, that would have never happened at City. Like Stones playing out from the back in that way wouldn't happen at City because he needed more help from his midfield in terms of taking the ball off him and relieving the pressure, which you're right, that's what happened. We didn't do, and if KDB says it, I'm going to take it.
Well, yeah.
Since West Ham's website, Declan Rice was talking on there about the disappointment of it, and his pass completion was really high. That's
good.
Night. 64 out of 66 or something. But it's nice and easy when you're just playing backwards and sideways and knocking it back to your centre backs or what have you. Not really trying to push and play passes that are a little bit more difficult. But I mean, he's still young as well, isn't he? So
it's not a criticism when I say he's not comfortable receiving the ball. He's not used to having to play like that. No. His job as a West Ham is that he's like a sweeper in front of the back four to protect and mop up. And then once he's comfortable and he's looking forwards, he's comfortable. What I'm saying is when he's receiving it, he's not comfortable. Our players, for whatever reason, in the way they're coached or they've been brought up through youth systems over the years, they're not comfortable receiving the ball in a backwards position and doing anything other than just going back home safe. Yeah. Rather than I mentioned like Winks, Phil Foden's another one hopefully, and Wilshere actually in peaks for Arsenal in his younger days was really good at it, receiving with his back to goal and being able to move into sideways directions and carry the ball forward.
Yeah. The one thing I did think, looking at the two sides, because I just said that I thought the Switzerland team was stronger, but strength in depth is something that did stand out. Like Alexander-Arnold or Kyle Walker, two very, very good options. You got Stones or Gomez, two very, very good options. Right, Maguire played both games. Danny Rose or Ben Chilwell, two very good options. Like everybody that came in or got left out, you could make a case for they could get into the starting 11 bar maybe. Probably Harry Kane would get in ahead of Rashford. Rashford's still a good option. So there's a good 22, 24 man squad there where you can make a case for multiple players in different positions, which is a positive from an England point of view.
The strength in depth at right back is a joke. Like Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
How's he going to get in?
Yeah. Where is he on that list?
I mean, Alexander-Arnold he's almost like a playmaker in that position. Like,
yeah.
I can't see beyond, even like I said, if he's 7.5, he's going in opening day because he's just creating so much.
What it does allow is if England wanted to play 3 at the back, Kyle Walker being the right-sided of a 3 central, I don't know if it necessarily always works, but then Alexander-Arnold gets even more license to bomb forward. Yeah,
or you'd be comfortable. I really thought Joe Gomez did well in the game yesterday.
Yeah.
I like him. He's got a bit more pace about him, which I think benefits Maguire if they're playing in the back
I think if he
four.
hadn't got injured last season, there'd be a lot more people talking about Gomez than they did.
Well, these guys are all on a sort of Stones, Gomez. We've spoken about them so many times in terms of their price will be really interesting at the start because they could be options.
Yeah.
We spoke to Johnny last week with FPL Pringle. We released the pod on Friday, but it was recorded before the Holland game. And we were talking about, was there trust issues with Guardiola and Stones. And that sort of performance yesterday is not going to help because when you're challenging for a title and you need high 90s to be winning the league, you can't carry players like that who are going to make individual errors like that are going to fuck you.
But again, is that City wouldn't concede as easily as that.
They wouldn't be under that pressure.
No. When you've got the ball 75% of the time, your defenders have a lot.
And then just go back to Ederson. I think England are trying to overthink it in terms of drawing on a press and then playing straight into midfield. I spoke about Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Safety. They will use Lloris all of the time at the first sign of danger, and that's okay to go back to the goalkeeper and then move into a wide area where you can receive the pass again and let your midfielders drop into the central area. Yeah, that's the bit we're not getting right at the moment.
No, midfield. I don't know. I lacked a bit of creativity. I thought Sterling played well and should have scored.
Did a frustrating game yesterday.
Should have scored more goals over the 2 games, and up front, I'm not really. It was the midfield that lacked creativity. That was the issue. That was the problem. Really, I suppose we really need a number 10 with the creative dribbling, playmaking.
It's the central midfield. At international level, ball retention is king more than it is at say European club level because you got to remember at tournament level, quite often you're playing this stupid amount of heat.
Yeah,
you've got to retain the ball. The front guys, the kids coming through like Sancho, Hudson-Odoi, Rashford's still young, Kane is relatively young. They'll do the damage up front.
We're not calling Lingard young then, are we?
Fuck's sake, Serge. No, we're not. Although I always feel England team, he's not fucking young.
How old is he?
He's about 27.
Nah.
Yes,
is he as old as that?
Yeah.
Fuck me. I thought Lingard was 24.
No.
25.
You're falling into the same trap as everybody, mate.
He looks like
Go and look at how old Jesse Lingard is and confirm for the listeners. I do feel 26. I do feel we have more energy as a national team when Lingard's in it, actually.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Is it the Google's decided to tell me the ages of all sorts, but Rashford 21, Dele Alli 23, Harry Kane 25, Raheem 24. So Lingard's as old as Romelu Lukaku 26.
So you've got all these players developing.
Martial 23,
and then
Trent 20.
Underneath that, there's a current of other younger forwards like Dominic Solanke, for example, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Tammy Abraham. But in the midfield area,
Greenwood.
Yeah, Mason Greenwood. In the midfield area, it's not like that. No. As such, you don't see those. I really hope that come next summer we're in a position where we've got a midfield of something like Winks, Loftus-Cheek, Foden, or Maddison, where technically they're so much better at receiving the ball on the half turn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because from those forward players you mentioned, any front 3 of those can do damage.
Of course, pace, power, and finishing, which is good. I think the players that you just mentioned, though, I mean, Loftus-Cheek, Maddison, and the other 2 are players that have technical ability, without a doubt. So, you'd like to think that if we can get that right, then we do stand a chance of really putting together a decent international side. I wasn't disheartened, or I wasn't like kind of unhappy about the whole Nations League. I just came to the end of it and I was like, meh. Like, I'm not that bothered. It's nice to see England play, but it is a glorified friendly, and that was the point of the Nation League.
Unless we'd have won it, in which case it was important.
Yeah, maybe I would have felt differently if
we'd have walked around with that forever. First team ever to win the Nations
League. Yeah, true.
It is the Europa League 2 of international competition. I can't argue that.
No, true. Yeah, anything else to add about England?
VAR. It's got a reference, isn't it? Because twice this weekend, or in the last week or so, we've shouted goal and been done over, particularly the Lingard goal against Holland. And it's the right decision. There's no arguments. My problem is still with how long. That can't happen, all that celebrating the goal and then the ball's on the centre circle for a retake and you're still waiting for, is it offside or not? Something, I know it's going to take a while, but it's got to be implemented where that's going to be instant.
Yep. Did you think Callum Wilson's this should have been disallowed?
Yeah, it was the right decision.
He fouled him.
Yeah, it was the right decision.
It's then about the time between the foul and him scoring the goal.
And how long it takes is the massive problem. And we do need to mention VAR while we've kind of not got our correspondence on in terms of what we think and what, as it's kind of in the subject matter, the effects for next season and what do we think of people like Milivojevic and Mark Noble, and if these guys are realistic FPL targets for the start of next season. Okay,
well, the two instances of VAR that we've seen in these two games haven't been for penalties or free kicks being given. They've been goals being disallowed.
No, but in the England women's game yesterday against Scotland, there was a very debatable handball that England got, and the ruling that seems to be that there's going to be more of them in terms of like the handball decisions given and stuff like that.
So do you think it's going to be 50-50 in terms of VAR being used to give decisions versus disallow decisions?
Yeah, I think you'll get more of a mixture in terms of there'll probably be, by the looks of it, more handball penalties this season. But I think a lot of the softer decisions where obviously the referee doesn't get the benefit of a replay will potentially then be overturned.
Yeah. The ref might just leave him be.
I mean, the whole diving thing is going to be a waste of time now, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you try and dive to win a penalty, it's going to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's a benefit of it, certainly. So I don't see mass increases in terms of penalties. And actually, when you look at, say, like the Callum Wilson goal against Switzerland, that's the sort of thing which, without VAR, is never going to get disallowed. Mm-hmm. So are we actually, longer term, forgetting the penalties for a minute, are we talking about possibly goals having less games rather than more?
Games having less goals?
Possibly. Do you think so?
Because
there's more that can get in the way of stopping stuff now.
Yeah. Okay. So that's back to my point: is it decisions being given or decisions being disallowed? So if we think that VAR is going to come more into prominence on disallowing stuff, then there would be less goals, like we've just seen, 2-2 for England. Albeit, yeah, you say the ladies one got given. I really don't know is the answer.
I've got a feeling.
I'm very unsure about how it's going to play out.
I've got a feeling that come 9 months, 10 months from now, we'll be finishing a Premier League season with possibly less goals than, because it's steadily been on the rise year on year generally.
Yeah. Also, if you look at it over the season, there's not that over a weekend of 10 matches, there might be 3 or 4 goals that are given that shouldn't be, maybe.
But the same team's just had 2 chalked off for such fine margins inside 4 days.
It will affect the likes of City and Liverpool and so on, and Spurs more than the others, because you score more goals and you get more possession. So what will happen? You'll win a game 3-0 instead of 4-0, or 1-0 instead of 2-0, or that kind of thing. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I'm not going to be making any decisions on players based on VAR.
That's how I feel. But there were a lot in the community who were thinking, particularly if, say, Zaha stays at Palace, there were a lot thinking like Milivojevic becomes like a must. That's how a lot of people feel.
Yeah, I mean, if Milivojevic is 6 million, I'll be buying him, I think, next season.
He won't be. He's had another decent season at 6.5.
Okay.
He's going to be 7 or 7.5, I think.
Yeah, at 7.5, he's not worth it for me. 6.5 stays the same price. I might
But
consider
what's
it.
the line? Because if they get the same amount of penalties again,
Yeah, he's a good value pick.
then he is.
But
And he ain't missing them either, is he?
Sure, I'm going to wait and see though. I'm happy to punt it out for the first couple of game weeks. If I lose 0.1, 0.2 on buying him 3 game weeks in or 4 game weeks in, so be it. I'm happy to take that risk. But I will be looking at set piece takers when I set my team up, but that's not necessarily with VAR in mind. I just can't see it. And I'd rather wait and see what the evidence is in the first 5 or 6 games than rush into it. I'm going to obviously, the aim is not to rinse my wild card in the first 4 game weeks. I want to try and ride it out for at least 6 or 8 game weeks. So.
Well, we'll have the fixtures in a couple of days.
Oh,
and
days!
It feels like the planning can really kick in and
first
begin.
thing I just want to see what we've got first day of the season.
There's a couple of teams. Once you got them fixtures out, there's a couple of teams instantly you're going to forget about. You can bet your life that there'll be someone who has 3 of the top 6 in their first 4.
Yeah.
For example, and then suddenly, where you thought you were looking at someone, you're not anymore. Someone's going to start with that sort of run.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's one of the correspondents we've already recorded with.
When are we? We're the fixture out on Thursday.
So we're going to record a podcast first thing Friday morning and have
Correct.
that out Saturday.
Saturday.
With a bit of data on
Fine.
fixtures.
Perfect. So Saturday's the day to tune in, turn on and lock out. 15th.
Yes.
So that will be the fixture special. We'll get it all put into Excel. I'll be analysing the fixture difficulty rating, see what we do.
Oh, will you?
Yeah, man.
All right, that's
as soon
good.
as it's done, it's going straight into Excel.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. I think this is that and the prices. Like once the fixtures are out, you can start.
You've just put real pressure on this podcast Saturday.
Yeah, which we're recording on Friday. But it's the first thing I'm going to do is fixtures. I'm excited.
Okay.
I love a bit of fixtures. Yeah, exciting.
Do you want
It might
to...
even be a little bit long. It'll be long. It'll be maybe an hour. We'll end up chatting.
Oh, a long podcast of me and you.
But shorter than the regular.
Well, we kind of booked this in for England. Do you want to talk about some of the England youngsters?
Yeah, sure.
Because
we just talked about how everyone is in our squad is a bloody youngster.
Yeah, well, they've, in terms of the under-21 squad, looks quite strong as well. And obviously, they've got a tournament coming up in Italy, which starts on the 16th, I think, which is well worth keeping an eye on. And there's a few players in here who are definitely worth watching out for what their sort of early prices early next season. Just before we start, Serge, do you know how many of these names on here don't you know?
Jake Clark-Salter.
Do you know who he plays for?
I do not.
Chelsea.
Okay, so going from top to bottom, Dean Henderson. Where's he?
So he's the United goalkeeper who was on loan at Sheffield United last season.
Yeah, that's fine. He's gone back to United, right?
Yeah, but Sheffield United are trying to buy him.
Obviously, we know Wan-Bissaka.
Good potential 4.5.
Dean Henderson. I don't know Fikayo Tomori. I don't know.
So you don't know Jay Da Silva?
No, I know Jay Da Silva.
Who does he play for?
I don't know who he plays for. Germany, isn't he?
Germany? We're seeing them on the 21 squad.
No. A club in Germany, sorry.
No. He's been on loan at Bristol City. He's a Chelsea player.
Oh, Chelsea. You're going to tell me everyone that I don't know is a Chelsea player?
Go on, hold on.
Jake we spoke about. I don't know, Fikayo Tomori.
It's Chelsea player. Stop there, right? Yeah. Because this is kind of something I wanted to highlight as well. Chelsea can't buy players.
Yeah.
There are, how many years have we been saying it? A good group of Chelsea youngsters. So you've
Kieran
got in
Dowell?
this. He's at Everton.
Okay. We know Damari Graham, Maddison and Solanke and Foden and Sessegnon, Kenny and Gunn. Lloyd Kelly I haven't come across.
Lloyd Kelly is a fullback that Bournemouth have just bought.
Okay.
So he's worth keeping an eye on. The problem with him, I looked at his numbers. I think they got him from Bristol City, I think. Forgive me.
Yeah.
He's a fullback, no attacking returns last season. And as a new signing, could even come in at possibly 5 anyway. But good young talent.
Yeah. Esri Konsa. That I haven't come across.
He is the only one in that under-21 squad who is not likely to be at Premier League club next year. I think he's currently at Brentford, I think.
Mason Mount, we have come across.
Yeah, Chowdhury and Barnes both at Leicester as well.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin, we know. Gibbs White, Reece Nelson, Freddie Woodman I haven't come across.
He's Newcastle goalie.
Okay, and then Tammy Abrahams we know about. I mean, there's well over half this squad.
Lots of that squad
First team Premier League
is made up of Chelsea and Leicester players. Which is really interesting to note for next season. I've heard Ryan Sessegnon's getting seriously linked with a move to Spurs, and apparently he wants it, but I don't believe anybody's joining Spurs till they've actually signed. But these Chelsea youngsters are really the ones I think to keep an eye on. If Chelsea can't buy, and they're going to, for example, start next season with, I guess Zuma goes back there as well with, say, as probably Cahill's replacement. You look at Zuma, Rudiger, David Luiz, Christensen, assuming they all stay. But then these young kids like Tomori and Jada Silva's a left back, Jake Clark-Salter, they're still not going to get a look in. I wonder if they might get Premier League loans next year if Chelsea retain the sort of squad they've got. If Zuma was to go back on loan, one of these kids could really get a look next year. Same for Abraham, isn't it? It's going to be compete. If they buy Higuain, he's still got to get past Higuain, Giroud, and Batshuayi. If Batshuayi stays.
Goes back, yeah.
So he's not getting a look in either. So I think a lot of these young players will end up with loan moves. Mason Mount's another one. He get blocked off at Chelsea. So I think a lot of them be looking at... A lot of these guys had good championship seasons last year. They could be some good budget Premier League options. Because when the prices come out, can't overprice these guys if they're going to price them up. Hopefully they'll price a lot of them early, like your Mason Mounts and that, at quite cheap. And then if they get Premier League moves, they could be nice budget enablers in the same way Loftus-Cheek was for that season at Palace a couple of years ago.
Correct, 4.5 he
and
came in
that's
at.
why they're particularly worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And those Leicester guys could all improve, Gray, Barnes, etc.
Chowdhury, for sure. But the interesting thing with Chelsea is that whilst you've got the budgets who will be farmed out on loan, maybe not, they'll still be there. The next tier of Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi are not going to be much more money. So if these guys are all 4.5 midfield and forward fodder, you'd think Loftus-Cheek might be 5.5. Hudson-Odoi 5.5. So they're actually players that you could pick and play.
I think Hudson-Odoi are probably being quite a jump just because it's Chelsea. There's rumours of him getting a number 10 shirt, isn't there?
Oh, is there?
But as I've said, like they're probably both out at the start of next season, so their ownership's going to be absolutely nothing when they do get fit, and it's going to be about timing and seeing if they're breaking into that team regularly. Hudson-Odoi by the springtime, I'm certain will be a regular starter for Chelsea and in a lot of FPL teams. But he needs to replicate more like Hazard's numbers than Alex Iwobi as a comparison, right?
For sure.
You can have all that talent and ability, but we spoke about this with Adam, Iwobi's end product's not enough for it to be an FPL investment.
No.
And Hudson-Odoi could be the same.
Yeah. Let's talk about Eden Hazard, shall we, briefly? Because
Yeah,
transfers
can do.
happened, done and dusted.
I think we all knew, didn't we?
88 million, cheap.
Yeah, but with bonuses, it could go up to 130, I believe.
Okay, fine.
So there's a lot of add-ons on
Still
that.
cheap, relatively. Looking
But
at...
he didn't have long left on his contract either,
No.
so
He's the same price as Harry Maguire.
what it's being linked.
80 million's what they want for Harry Maguire, right?
Well, they've already been offered 71 for Chilwell, apparently, haven't they? So
yeah. Was that an offer or a request? I didn't know that was an offer.
I
on
don't
the
know if
table.
that was a rumour. I don't know if that offer went in
Wow.
from Atletico for Chilwell.
That's
or
the
not.
first big signing of the summer, which we knew was on the cards. Sad to see Hazard go because he was a hell of a player, still is a hell of a player, and a decent FPL option. But we'll have to just shop around elsewhere now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, obviously, what happens with Pulisic.
Yeah,
It's obviously a young talent. I can't see him. I think he'll be overpriced. I think it'll be sort of 9 upwards because he's the brand new shiny signing. I don't see him. He's very young as well. He's like 19, 20. Don't see him producing
going-
massive numbers early.
not on
so
my list in any way, shape, or form.
Chelsea are going to be such an interesting one if they hold on to all these kids and all those players who've been out on loan, where that team starts next season.
Did you cry when you saw that Hazard had left? He shed a couple of tears.
I thought he said
Match
shit a
up.
couple
He
of
shed a couple of tears. No, he shed a couple of tears when Eden Hazard left.
Bless. We assume Sarri's still out.
Yeah, Sarri's gonna go. Why don't they just do a straight swap with Allegri and be done with it?
Well, apparently quite a few are still mentioning Fat Frank, aren't they? So,
Oh man, that would be the worst decision that
but
Chelsea
maybe it
can
won't.
make.
Like I said, all these kids there. I don't know.
He's not ready for that role. And
how do we know till someone's given it?
Yeah. But he's only done one season.
Yeah, but he knows the club inside out, doesn't he?
Hurdle. Sure, I think it's the tactical awareness, and having the respect in the dressing room. Things start going badly, it's going to be hard.
But he might
for
be
him to come out.
if he's going to not be able to buy players and have to work with all these kids. It's got to be a little bit of grace, right?
It's probably the best time to give it to him. I don't doubt that.
Having lost Hazard as well, I mean, I don't believe that there's Chelsea fans.
Lace up his boots himself.
Just lost their best player.
Yeah.
And they finished well adrift to City, Liverpool last year. So no matter how good some of these kids might be, you couldn't see them. If the ban for transfers doesn't get overturned, they're not title challengers next season.
No.
They're somewhere between 3rd and 6th, aren't they?
Yeah.
And possibly even worse if it starts badly. Because that's one hell of a player to replace. Can't underestimate that.
Can't do it without money.
Do you know, remarkably, last year was Hazard's best FPL season?
Yeah, I saw. Was it Utterly TC tweeted it? Tom Campbell?
I think it was Tom Campbell. I would rather give Tom the credit than the official account that I saw.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
He probably retweeted it and with some commentary. But yeah, 16 goals, 13 assists, was
something
it 10
like
assists? But yeah, 233 points. He'd had a couple of 200 and something seasons.
It felt
220s.
surprising that it was his best season.
He had a couple of hauls. He had some really big games. He scored a couple against us and also earlier in the season. So maybe the hauls helped. He had a lot of BPS last year. Eden Hazard did rake in the BPS last year, and I think that helped.
Just makes them premium mids even more interesting at the moment.
Yeah,
but there'll be new players in. We know it.
It's very easy to forget Chelsea's first 10, 12 games of the season last year. They started the season on fire.
On tomorrow's pod, which we've already recorded with Gary as my cap plan, which is on Manchester United, we spoke a lot, didn't we, about Pogba and how if he stays...
tomorrow... Not today's tomorrow, but tomorrow of this show. Yeah, you're right.
I'm
so fucking confused.
We talked about Pogba and how his value might be kind of a standalone if he's sort of around 9.
Yeah.
And he might, if he stays there, depending on his position next season, might fall back into a lot of teams again. Because you don't see too many midfielders being priced in that area at the moment. They're either going to be lower or the top ends like Sterling's and Mane's.
Yeah, it was only really your two Tottenham boys in terms of Ericsson and Ali that were that 8.5, 9. And you got Son who's going to be in and around.
Ali's not going to be more than he was last year. Ericsson's going. So what I'm saying, Ozil's obviously on the decline if he stays.
Yeah, forget
so
him.
That's what I'm saying. There's not going to be a lot of midfielders in around that sort of 9 million area at the moment, and I think it will just fall into a budget area with Pogba that. Obviously, there'll be new players in the league, but if there isn't, as it would stand now, I think he'll fall back into a lot of teams again.
Yeah.
Even with the price increase.
9 million, I'll have him. I think because you need that balance.
Depends what he's going to play with. If they bought a top draw holding midfield player, that would make you feel better. Otherwise, at the moment, you still see him sitting in that deeper role behind your Rashfords and if Sanchez or Martial come back into the team and that.
Fun fact about Paul Pogba.
Hit me.
Same age as Jesse Lingard. 26.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Thought he was young as well, the prick.
But he's got a World Cup winners medal to his name, so he can wave that at Jesse Lingard.
He ain't going to want to play too many seasons in Europa League, though.
No.
I don't think we know at the moment if he's staying or not. It's interesting. Tune in for that one tomorrow because we spoke about Pogba in length.
Yeah. Pogba at 9 million, I think, is definite for me. But we'll see what happens when the fixtures are announced as well. What United start with a nice easy run, or will it be a nice tough set of fixtures?
We'll find out in a few days.
Any other transfer rumours that have been buzzing around that caught your interest, or not really?
Loads, but not really, mate. It's so overhyped, isn't it? As a Spurs fan, I learned not to get too interested. Like I said, I've heard Sessegnon is very much on the cards for Spurs, and there's loads of others we're getting linked with. Most of the rumours are fabrication and absolute bullshit to sell newspapers and get clicks online.
Yeah. Arsenal apparently have finalised in terms of Carrasco. Is it Carrasco?
Oh, yeah, Carrasco. Yeah, since we recorded with Adam, that's been rumoured because he's playing out in Asia at the moment. And it's really interesting because Adam spoke about the importance for Arsenal to get wingers in, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he certainly is that.
Yeah. That could be one that seems to be close to getting across the line now. Now that the Nations League's finished, I suppose everyone's pissing off on their holidays for 2 weeks. to go to Dubai or where do all these footballers go?
It'll all
Dubai.
start again. You'll blink. Like we've got the women's tournament on at the moment. The under-21 starts in a few days. Copa America, African nations, American Gold Cup, all next month as well. So it's not really. There's
Downtime
plenty for
many
FPL
people.
managers to be keeping their eye on, no doubt.
For sure. Nothing interesting happening at West Ham at the moment, I'm afraid.
Great.
We've got a couple of goalkeepers. We bought a player from Millwall.
Haven't you bought 2 goalkeepers?
Yeah.
You let Adrian go, right?
Adrian's gone back to Spain. Did he go to Alaves? Alaves, I think, is where he's ended up. And we've got some really good young goalkeepers as well. I was doing some reading earlier, but we got Roberto, and he came from Spain. And we got the keeper from Millwall. Was it Dave Williams?
I don't know.
I think his son is Williams.
No idea. He certainly wouldn't be first choice at Millwall. That's Jordan Archer, I think.
No. But we just wanted to cover what the goalkeeping coach was saying. He just wanted first team mature cover so that
Spurs
the
have
kids
obviously let Michel Vorm go. And one of the things Spurs really struggled with last year, which was say why Janssen never got a squad number at the start of the season, was a quota of English players, which seems remarkable with Spurs because it always feels like we've got loads of them.
English players.
But actually, the squad depth wise, there isn't too many of them because you don't have to include people like Oliver Skip and that because they're so young. You don't have to include them. I think Spurs will be targeting a English goalkeeper as third choice next year because it feels one, doesn't it?
Third choice, yeah, true.
How often are you going to use the third choice goalkeeper?
Hardly.
Might as well get it as fill one of your quota on them.
That's probably why we picked up the lad from Millwall. To be fair.
I think a lot will be going that way. It's kind of almost like a loophole way around. I think you've got to have 7 or 8. I think.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Southampton have got a full stack. Is Alex McCarthy English? Yeah, he's English, isn't he? He's not Scottish or Irish.
Well, that was interesting on yesterday's pod. That's just to confuse you because when we're recording,
I know.
It's not been released yet.
Yeah.
But it was interesting listening to FPL Gaffer talk about not too sure who's definitely first choice there.
No.
I assumed Angus Gunn, and he's in that England under-21 squad, would be full of it now. But he's not convinced about him, was he?
No, not fully.
He thinks McCarthy's still got a shot. But all 3 of them, you're quite right, all English goalkeepers, aren't they? But they've got loads of English kids. Josh Sims is not in the under-21 squad. He was in the under-20 squad that played in the Toulon tournament.
Right.
So that kind of shows you the depth that's in that under-21 England squad at the moment.
Interesting. All right, we're going to leave it there, I think, for this little episode 11.
Nice.
We're back to it tomorrow with Manchester United is my cat playing, followed by
should
Bournemouth?
be nil AFCB NG.
We've got Chelsea coming up shortly.
Chelsea's ages.
Oh,
we're waiting for them to buy players, aren't we?
Foxy.
I think we got
Fitballer.
FPL Foxy Sunday, FPL Fitballer Friday, and we're going to do our fixture stuff on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Still plenty coming out at you thick and fast. Other than that, nothing else to add. Do hit subscribe. Come and join us on YouTube if you want to see what a state the room is in. It'll be all sorted by the next episode, which we're recording again tomorrow. So yeah, come and join us on YouTube where we're going to be live stream. Maybe we even live stream 1 or 2 of these. You never know. And hit subscribe, share it with all your FPL playing friends. Hope the withdrawal symptoms are not too bad. You haven't got the shakes from lack of FPL. Anything else?
Nah, tweet me, send me shit, ask me shit. Cue music, man, child.
Ciao for now.
The Fantasy Football Show.